Moanmore East, and you can see the Moanmore East stone circle up here. And I'll zoom out so you get an idea of where exactly it is. So as you can see, we're going fairly well here. Now see, we're right here. So Moanmore East is out here, roughly around here in Loughrea Road, and then you have Galway City here. Then now you have car. I was kind of made a fortune. Now on this video, I've been up to the Moanmore East stone circle, which is quite a rare and unusual one, especially for Ireland. Now it's up in County Galway. It is about 40 minutes drive roughly from Galway City itself, going east. Now I was actually very fortunate because I left early in the morning, hotel early in the morning, to go there, so it'd be just quicker to get there and quicker to get back that early in the morning, especially with traffic. But I was actually pleasantly surprised that I actually got a sunrise there. Now bear in mind, the weather this year in Ireland is absolutely shocking. Non-stop rain, and when the sun comes out, it comes out just for brief periods before it sends showers back down us again. But I was actually very fortunate that morning for this video, and I hope you will enjoy it once it's done. Now, before we go ahead and see that video, now I must apologise well for the video. The sound isn't great. The camera I'm using is actually on its last legs, so I've actually since I bought a new camera, so hopefully we'll get better footage and better sound in the footage as well. So God bless you, Arish. Now on this one I will read the archaeological report on it, and I'll go through a few things on it as well as we go along. There's been one or two things that actually got me thinking as well. Now basically the archaeological reports on Moanmore East is on a ridge in pastureland immediately to the south of the Loughrea Portumna Road, named 7 monuments and shown with a large mixed forest on the Ordnance Survey 16-inch maps. This national monument was known locally as Fara Brega. Now Fara Brega is quite an unusual word to use. Basically, if you translate it to English, it means dummy, but it actually means the dummy for a dressmaker, and it'd be the old-fashioned ones, which I suppose if you look at the stones in the video, especially the orthostats, they have some kind of resemblance, alright, to dressmaker's dummy. You know, the head missing and the arms missing. Those type of old style ones you used to see in the old haberdashery windows. It was described in Dutton's Statistical Survey of 1824 as a mound where there was formerly 8 flat root stones. Now, what I mean is that by this is that there was 8 orthostats there originally, which would explain, because there's actually a bit of a gap which you will see between the stone that the sun hits going over to the 2 stones that have fallen over. There is a bit of a gap there, so that's possibly where it could have been. So there's only one way to find out, and unfortunately we have no real way of finding out if it was there or not, unless there's a proper archaeological dig done there. But one was missing. 5 were still standing and 2 were lying flat on the bank. In the centre was a tumulus, or the cairn, and the entire site was planted with trees. Now those are missing, but as we go along, this is what's written in O'Flanagan 1927 volume 2 page 239. The trees have long since been removed from the monument, but traces of the plantation survive immediately to its south and around its west limits, and a house has been built to its southeast. That being the house right next door to it. I was wondering, no one came out to say hi or tell me to get off there, but since it's public property and it's so close to the road, there was actually a walkway up to it, so they couldn't tell me to go. But if there was the only way to go through to speak to the people who actually owned land, I would have asked. As you've seen, I've done other videos. I'll get back to the report. Traces of lazy beds running roughly north to southwest are visible immediately to its south. The embanked stone circle, which is 30.15 metres north to south, is defined by a raised, roughly circular area that's enclosed by a well-preserved, mainly earthen, flat-topped bank, with at north is 0.8 meters height, and then the height is normally about 0.5 meters, and 0.8 meters. So it goes from 1 meter to 0.8 meters to 0.7 meters, varying as it goes around. But that could be for wear and tear. We don't know if it even was exactly level back in the Bronze Age. We don't know. The 7 boulders are still extant. 2 at northwest and north are lying flat, and the other 5 at northeast, east, southeast, south-southeast, and south-southwest, which are upright. Within the interior, roughly centrally located, is a small cairn and a low berm visible around the slopes gently towards the bank. There is no visible surface trace of a fosse. Knox in 1915 recorded traces of an outer bank to the north, east and south, and is now only clearly visible from north to northeast. Here a field wall is built outside it, and there's a sharp drop to the road below. Otherwise, some slight intermittent traces are evident from southwest to north, and this area is densely overgrown with scrub and trees. That would be the drop in behind the stones there on the eastern side, which you'll see in the video as well. And I've lost my place, which is typical. Knox suggested that the central cairn was possibly an Ordnance Survey station and excavation by McAllister, which proved that it was of recent origin. May back it up. These upright stones range from height from 1.08 meters to 1.56 meters, and packing stones are visible at the base of some, which would be in the protruding stone there that I was looking at, wondering what was. So most are partially covered with moss and lichen. The top of the stone at west-southwest is fairly flat and bears a roughly square tenon-like feature, again suggesting possible link with a trigonometrical station. Now, as you can see, this is a rough drawing of an aerial view of the actual stone circle itself. So you have the embankment and the depression, and in the central depression you have the central cairn. Now, I've also highlighted the 2 fallen orthostats, as well as the orthostat that's hit by the sun on the sunrise, which you see in the video, and also an orientation of the compass as well, to give you an idea of its orientation basically. And that's it then. There's not been real digs. I must actually look further in, because McAllister would have gone in further. He's quite a noted archaeologist who did go around the country, and he's the one person who's actually done most of the translations of the Oma stones around the country as well. Now, I'll let you go here now, and we'll go on with the actual video itself. So, Gurmia Mahagut for listening to me and bearing with this part of describing the actual area itself, and we'll go on with the show. Gurmia Mahagut.
No, Vakara, agus Falter Scanpiog. As we are looking at an artificially raised embankment from the late Bronze Age with a stone circle. This is called on Shan Covarla. This are the 7 monuments. So 2500 BC this was roughly erected. So I'll bring up there now in 2 minutes. Now, see with the heights myself here, the embankment makes the stone 2 meters in height. The stones actually come up to about a meter. Now I will bring you up there. Now this is out on Moanmore East in County Galway, and it is dawn. So as you can see, sunrise just over the tree line here. Now we are going to go up the embankment. Now the Shan Quarter means 7 monuments, because there are 7 stone orthostats here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have 2 recumbent ones which have actually fallen, so 1 and 2, and you also have a central cairn in the middle of the depression of the raised ditch. Now, as you can see, all the stones have been built on the actual circumference of the actual artificial ditch itself, and as for the cairn, I'm not too sure. I haven't read up much on it. There's not really not much evidence, archaeological evidence on it yet, as of yet, but I can always dig into that later on and find out if there has been any further digs in it to find out what the cairn is. The cairn, or raised mound of stones, probably central. As you can see, there's a bit of ice of the hitting that stone over here. So first thing in the morning. So as you can see, that's interesting, and we have our first sunrise. First time we ever got a sunrise, and it will be typical when I'm actually not looking for a sunrise. When I wasn't looking for a sunrise in the first place. So we'll go over here, and as you can see, it goes really down, and there's a few other stones. Now, see, this looks like it's the axial stone itself. So if we put ourselves on the cairn, it's not exactly on the cairn at all, so I'm not too sure how the alignments would be on it, but I see this is the stone that gets hit by the sunrise. Didn't intentionally go looking for that, but as you can see, we have it right here. Can't believe it. First time for everything. Now, you can see the cairn here on the sunrise, and we are actually very close to a road here in County Galway. And you see, you have your recumbent stones as well. So what we'll do is we'll stand here behind the stone. You see, ditch goes down a good bit, and there we go. Now, so thank you for viewing this short video, and I hope you get as much enjoyment out of this. So long.